We're diving specifically into something you electrical system designers, engineers, and installers deal with all the time. We're talking about that absolutely critical architectural choice at the heart of any off-grid or hybrid solar setup, choosing between a PWM, or Pulse Width Modulation, and an MPPT, Maximum Power Point Tracking, charge controller. Look, selecting the right technology here, it literally dictates your system's efficiency, its flexibility, and your battery's lifespan. So let's just get right into the data. Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll hit the core mechanics of PWM versus MPPT. Then, we'll look at efficiency and temperature dynamics, followed by system design and wire gauge. After that, we'll tackle battery chemistry, specifically LiFePO4 integration, and finally, we'll wrap up with the cost and performance matrix. All right, part one, core mechanics, PWM versus MPPT. So at their most basic fundamental level, both of these controllers exist to do one job: safely regulate the voltage and current flowing from your solar array into your battery bank so you don't overcharge it. Simple enough, right? But to really grasp the difference in how they do this, we have to ground ourselves in the photovoltaic power curve. Every single solar panel has an optimal sweet spot, a specific ratio of current to voltage that yields the absolute most power. We call this the maximum power point, or MPPT. And crucially, this point isn't static. It's not locked in. It shifts dynamically throughout the entire day based on solar irradiation and environmental conditions. And that brings us to the core hardware difference. A PWM controller is, well, it's essentially a really highly cost-effective switch. It uses a rapid switching MOSFET clamp that just connects the panel directly to the battery. An MPPT controller, though, completely different beast. It's a highly sophisticated DC to DC converter, usually a buck or boost converter, that actually physically decouples the panel from the battery using a smart tracking algorithm. Now, this perfectly illustrates the main limitation of that PWM approach. Because PWM directly connects the panel to the battery, it essentially forces or clamps the panel's voltage down to match the battery's voltage, which means all that potential extra power, it's completely thrown away. I mean, literally discarded. The panel is forced to operate way below its true capability. Contrast that with what the MPPT DC to DC transformation does. By decoupling the array from the battery, the MPPT's algorithm is constantly, actively sweeping the power curve, searching for that exact peak power point. It takes that excess voltage that PWM would just toss aside and mathematically transforms it into additional charging current at the lower battery voltage. So you aren't just saving power, you are actively, continuously optimizing it. Moving on to section 2, efficiency and temperature dynamics. So what do these mechanics actually mean for real-world performance metrics? Well, the strict data makes the efficiency gap super clear. MPPT's complex internal components operate at a near-perfect 90 to 99% efficiency. But PWM? By its very design, it naturally sacrifices about 20 to 25% of potential power just to maintain that simple clamping mechanism. So if you're ever in the field diagnosing an efficiency drop in a PWM setup, remember that it requires your panel's nominal voltage to exactly match your battery's voltage. MPPT, on the other hand, handles mismatched, higher voltages with total ease. But here is where this really matters: cold weather. You know, as temperatures drop, solar panels actually get more efficient. They produce higher voltages. Because a PWM controller just clamps that voltage down, it completely ignores this winter bonus. It's wasted. An MPPT controller, though, absolutely thrives here. It actively captures that winter voltage spike and converts it into a massive 10 to 30% gain in power harvest, which is exactly when winter sun hours are at their lowest, and your client needs that power the absolute most. All right, section 3, system design and wire gauge. Decoupling the panel voltage completely alters your system-level architecture and, frankly, your wiring budgets too. Let me pose a really practical question to the installers listening right now. How does choosing MPPT technology actually impact the physics of your long wire runs from the array to the battery bank? Think about those resistive losses you're constantly battling in the field. Well, it all comes down to an if-then scenario. If you're running, say, 100 feet of wire using a PWM controller at 12 volts, you're dealing with high current. And that means massive, wildly expensive copper wires just to prevent voltage drop, right? But if you use an MPPT controller, you can wire those exact same panels in series to create a high voltage array. And high voltage means lower overall current. This dramatically reduces the required wire gauge, you are slashing your copper costs and minimizing power loss over distance. Plus, and this is huge, it lets you use those cheaper grid-tie 60-cell modules that a PWM controller simply cannot process efficiently. There is a crucial technical caveat here, though, and designers really need to plan for this. To achieve all this magic, MPPT controllers operate as high-frequency DC-to-DC converters, usually switching somewhere in the 20 to 80 kilohertz range. And because of this high-frequency switching circuit operation, they can inadvertently act a lot like radio transmitters. This introduces a very real risk of radio frequency or RF interference. So, careful noise isolation and suppression, they aren't optional. They are absolutely mandatory requirements in your system design to protect the rest of your electronics. Next up, Section 4, Battery Chemistry and Life-FOPO Integration. Your battery bank's chemistry heavily dictates your charge controller selection. Right now, as I'm sure you know, we are seeing a massive, industry-wide shift toward lithium iron phosphate, or LiFePOR batteries. These cells are incredible, absolutely game-changing. But they demand meticulous, extremely precise, multi-stage charging profiles for both safety and longevity. A simple PWM controller with its basic on-off clamping mechanism really struggles to optimize this chemistry safely. As the source literature notes, MPPT controllers have the actual processing power required to execute these precise, custom charging algorithms. They ensure your expensive, high-performance lithium bank is charged completely and as quickly as possible. And that precision is exactly why advanced integrated smart home energy storage systems almost exclusively rely on MPPT architectures today. It's just non-negotiable. Finally, Section 5, the cost and performance matrix. So how do we actually weigh the upfront cost against the lifetime energy yield? Keeping things technically impartial, it's super important to point out that PWM isn't inherently bad. It is a highly reliable, incredibly robust piece of hardware precisely because it has so few electronic components. At about a third to half the cost of an MPPT, it's absolutely perfect for small, budget-sensitive systems under 200 watts in stable, hot climates. But MPPT, while it is 2 to 3 times more expensive up front, it is flat out necessary for medium to large installations, long wire runs, and extreme or highly variable climates. It pays for itself so rapidly in lifetime energy yield. Now, here is a fantastic pro tip straight from the data. Both of these controllers will sustain catastrophic damage if you exceed their open circuit voltage, or VOC, limits. Just don't do that. But when it comes to current, they react totally differently. MPPT controllers can safely limit current intake from an oversized array. PWM cannot. This gives system designers a massive advantage. You can actually safely oversize an MPPT solar array by 20% to guarantee your batteries hit a high state of charge during consecutive cloudy winter days without frying the controller. It's a huge design win. To make all this actionable out in the field, we can apply a practical decision flowchart based on our sources. Ask yourself, are you optimizing for upfront savings or lifetime yield? Is the local climate hot and sunny or cold and cloudy? How many cells do your panels actually have, and are they wired in series? By tracking these simple metrics, climate, cell count, and string wiring, you can instantly dictate the correct architectural choice for literally any off-grid installation, right there on the job site. Which leaves us with this final, rather provocative thought. As the technical landscape keeps evolving and new research into hybrid control architectures begins to bridge this cost-performance gap, will PWM eventually become completely obsolete in modern, smart, off-grid designs? It's a pretty fascinating question for the future of our industry. Thank you so much to all the engineers and installers watching for your focused attention today. Keep designing smart, and we'll see you